I'm well. I've been busy and good. I really can't complain.
The question that's kind of on my mind and probably the viewers right now is really what is the difference just between a real estate agent and a planner?
So it's important to my business to do the real estate activities. I love helping people sell homes, buy homes, find homes, negotiate. That's my biggest, we've negotiated thousands and saved thousands of dollars for our clients. On the side of real estate planning, what we actually do is sometimes we go in there and we don't sell anything. This is different because we will come in and we kind of just meet your family where they need to be.
Today's episode of Lunch with Doug is made possible by the American Legion, Post Number 2, 402 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. Open 365 days a year with live entertainment Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. The Art Shop and Gallery at 104 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri. Tai Chi, plants, art lessons, and commissions. The Boutique Marketplace and the Boutique Marketplace 2, located at 500 East Cherry Street, Nevada, Missouri, and 613 South Main in Joplin, Missouri. It pays to have friends who follow the trends. The Ellis Furniture Company, serving the community since 1922, 201 East Walnut in Nevada, Missouri. Karen McNair, the friendly neighborhood nutritionist at 269-267-4644. And John's Barbershop at 121 West Cherry Street. Walk-ins only, no appointment needed. Open Tuesday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. I'm Dangerous Doug Harper, your host. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with me.
CRC Contracting, Missouri's preferred choice for residential and commercial construction and remodeling. Quality craftsmanship, dependable service, and results built to last. Call 417-321-3289 or email crcpro@outlook.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Lunch with Doug. And as promised, the one, the only Marny is with us today. Hello, Marny.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, fantastic to have you here. In case you're new to who Marny is, Marny has 4 years in real estate with 204. That's what my notes say. 204 families have been helped from you. You're in the top 10% of Keller Williams in the Joplin, Missouri area. You're Rookie of the Year 2022. You're 100% recommendation rate across major reviews and platforms. You're licensed in all 4 states. That's Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. That's quite a list of accolades, girl. I love it. And so great to have you today. How you been?
I'm well. I've been busy and good. I really can't complain. How about you, Doug? How are you?
Oh, it's all happening. That's what I like to
I know.
say.
Right in the middle of life.
Yep, life happens, and then you just keep it upbeat and you keep going. So
Yep.
I am excited because I guess the point of this meeting was I was like, you know what, I need to know more about that your industry, what you do, and I know you do a number of things that are beyond just maybe typical. Typical is maybe the normal. You got a lot.
Yes.
You're outgoing. You're very out there. I see your signs all the time. It excites me. So let's talk about I guess first thing. Let's talk about when and why for real estate. Can you tell us about that?
So right before 2020, I think that honestly, people get surprised that I don't really know why I got into real estate. It looked fun and people were taking trips and having more freedom in their life. And I've always been an entrepreneur spirit. So I've, owned businesses and, been that person to kind of grow and evolve and like provide things and connect. And I don't know why I was so, interested in real estate, but it did take a turn to where I understood a little more that it's not super easy. And I've always really wanted to help people. And that's really like it's been very rewarding in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let's talk about, well, we talked a little bit about your kind of what you had going, your success and what you've had so far, but let's talk about success in real estate.
Um, so success looks different to everybody. You would say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it depends on what you think is success. And a lot of times we think success looks a certain way in our business or our self. We need to look a certain way or be like someone else. And I think that the first couple of years, I really didn't know what I wanted. I thought that I wanted this um, woman, team that's beautiful and does all these high client listings and luxury. And this is, that's kind of what I thought would happen. And then one day we do a lot of learning and growth through Keller Williams. It's just a huge company worldwide. And we go to a lot of events that are just learning events that we connect with other agents. And the first one I went to, I was sitting in the audience and I was like 3 months in real estate. And I know that if you're not in real estate, you probably don't understand how much is involved in knowing what you're doing. So the first 3 or 4 months, a normal person would probably just go to work and try to do their job and learn as they go. And then some people are reaching out for like classes and learning and accountability. And that was me because I was so scared to fail because this is the largest transaction. This is like owning a home is usually the biggest asset that you're ever going to have. It means so much to people. You could really like hit it out of the park, or you could really fail and run people's lives. So I knew that from the beginning. So I was super scared, and I was going to everything I could, every class I could, which was provided here at our office. And one day I was sitting in this really large auditorium with thousands of people from Keller Williams, and I'm going, these people, oh my gosh, what's happening? And there was a man on stage, his name was Dana Hara. He's from Hawaii. And he was up there talking about seniors and baby boomers and how all of this transfer of wealth is happening. And, there are people that can help them and learn more about seniors and their families and how to prevent, a lot of things from happening to them and helping them transition, helping them provide. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, good for you, dude. That is not, that is not where I see myself. So that was the first time I'd seen. I'm like, that's really cool that there are people out there because they talk about niches. Like, are you an army person? If you're an army person, you live on a base, whatever, you can help veterans. You can make this your certain people you help. If you are a young person and want to help new first time home buyers, this can be yours because you have to really focus when you're running your real estate business. So I looked at that and I said, good for him. It's really cool that there are people out there that want to do all that. And because it's a lot of extra work, and why not just sell houses? So that was my first time running into this idea of real estate planning. And that's really what he did. He created a community of people who love seniors or just love people that want to take the time to learn and specialize in what they're going through, sit with their kids, do all these things. And he created this community. And I kept seeing it. I saw it a couple times. I saw classes he was putting out, and I actually saw him a couple years later at one of the events. There was like a piano bar after one of the classes, and I saw him standing there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that man, he's famous." So fast forward, I started finding out that this is a needed job for me because helping people sell their homes, I have come across a lot of these scenarios to where I know that if I would have been involved or known more about all of the things, there's so many things to know about senior planning. If I would have known, I could have helped my clients earlier. I could have helped my family, my family's friends. I could have been that person to help them mediate family meetings or make sure they're protected in their assets. So that's why I chose real estate planning. And I had to wait a couple years to even qualify for this group. And then once you're in the group, then you go through a lot of trainings and become certified in 1031 exchanges, learning how probate works and all of the things that go with actually senior relocation and kind of gearing you up for a downsizing of your things in life and simplifying it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of touched on, I guess you are more leaning on the real estate being a more of a real estate planner kind of as a specialty. And
Yes.
then we kind of touched a little bit on what kind of why it was significant to you. We were talking about how that with him, but really, well, the question that's kind of on my mind and probably the viewers right now is really what is the difference just between a real estate agent and a planner?
So it's important to my business to do the real estate activities. I love helping people sell homes, buy homes, find homes, negotiate. That's my biggest, we've negotiated thousands and saved thousands of dollars for our clients. On the side of real estate planning, what we actually do is sometimes we go in there and we don't sell anything. We don't buy anything. And if you know what real estate, how you get paid in real estate, it's when you close a deal. That's when you get paid. I don't get paid for showings. I don't get paid for anything I do besides when we're sitting at a closing table and we sign the papers. That's when I get paid. So this is different because we will come in and we kind of just meet your family where they need to be. For instance, if you are, let's say your kids are like graduating and you're like, man, I have this big house. I don't want to sell today. I might sell in the future. And this is what you're thinking. And we're like, okay, so if you want us to come in, we can come talk to you about downsizing and we can start the process to where whenever it's time for you or you see a house that was perfect for you and the time is right, you're moving out of comfort and you're ready and you're prepared. What we're doing is we try to meet you where you're at. And so it's kind of like retirement and beyond. So with the seniors, we come in and not just talk about selling their house. If they want to age in place, then okay, let's do it. Let's talk about aging in place. Is your home safe? We'll walk to their home and say, look, and a lot of times we are connected with the adult children like you and I, because our parents are hard. Like there's so much to do. If you think about your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, first of all, pride. They lived through different times than us. They've worked for everything they've had. It all means a lot to them. And a lot of, real estate agents are awesome. We just have to do a lot to make anything. So like it's a transactional business. I have a lot of transactions and I realize whenever I get really busy with transactions, which is our home sales, if I do a lot, then I'm like, oh, what about my, other part of this, which is the give back and getting into the community. So it's kind of a bridge between, do you need to age in place? If you want to stay in your home, that's awesome. Let's figure out how to do it. Let's do it in a safe manner. Let's make sure you're protected and your assets are protected because we don't want, sweet grandma to go outside and all of a sudden fall into a coma. Do we have things in place to help her? And so we look at, are you in a trust? Do you have a trust? Is it because a lot of people think that like a will, they write it down. And once if you have somebody ever come to you, or there's a lot of times people are in probate and we really try our best to get them with the specialists, the elder law people who actually, care and have the patience, which is something to sit and talk about your plan. And I know it's hard to talk about. We get it. But if you have a plan in place, we save families from lots of fighting, lots of, because that's what happens. Seniors, like a parent passes away or a parent gets sick. And, I love my siblings, right? And then it's like we all have these different, and nobody really knows. And everybody has a different path or belief. So what we want to do is get in there before a crisis happens or before, you haven't been able to take care of your home because just for instance, I had a client that I was working with for a couple years, Sweet Millie. She wasn't poverty level. She had a good life. She worked hard and had, a business. Well, her husband didn't want to sell, and she was talking to me for years. And then one day she just called and said, "I'm ready." He passed away, and I'm like, because I had been talking to her, and he passed away, so she was ready. Well, we weren't ready because we had to go in there and help her, put things in place. And the home just didn't have the value that it could have. So we like to talk to you and be like, okay, well, I understand that you shouldn't be up on a ladder or doing all of these repairs and maintenance to your home. Let's find somebody affordable that will come and do that for you that we can trust. So that way, when it is time to give this home or to your family and pass it down, she probably lost about 60 grand in her home equity value because of the wheelchair marks, and the things that just couldn't be, taken care of in those times. When if I would have known more at the time, I could have helped her earlier, widen doorways. We have contractors we work with that are great with seniors that do stuff like that. So that is the difference between just a real estate agent and like we're talking about negotiating, selling, buying, taking care of your home like that, and a real estate planner who, first of all, we're certified. So I've been to a lot of classes and events and the community and what do we need. And we're okay with you staying at home. We just want to connect that to where you're safe and your family's getting along and healthy and happy and, life is better for you. So,
Yeah, that's amazing. I've never heard it quite like that. So, man, that's very exciting and to see how all that comes together and stuff. And I know you're doing some community type stuff with like ministry and giving back and some stuff for the nonprofit stuff. That's kind of you're out there doing everything. You got your hand in it all. Tell us about some of the community projects that you do, or that you're
well,
things that you're
yeah,
involved in.
honestly, right now, well, in the past, Doug, you were the same type. You're a connector, you're an entertainer. That's who I am at my soul as well. I want everybody to feel welcome and included and just to get the community together and figure it out. I've always had that love for people. And the new person comes in and it's like, sit at my table, we're going to hang out. And it's hard to figure out kind of what you want to do. Giving back is just exactly what it is. It could be the guy at the corner, giving him some money every day. I don't care what he does with it, kind of, idea. Or you could give to a church, or you could give, and what I'm doing right now is I'm working on getting into the community and finding out what is needed in the senior world. So just a few data things right now is and I'm talking about Jasper, McDonald, Newton, and Barton counties, because that's who the seniors here serve together. 765 seniors are homebound. So that means they're not able to leave their home. A lot of people don't have people there for them. A lot of people fall right in between that gap of poverty and are able to be helped from, government grants and things like that. And then there's a large number of seniors who fall in between that gap of, they're still at poverty level and they can't afford anything. Like I'm talking, I probably would cry if I told you all the stories, but there are people who live off like a can of tuna a day, or you take them, Meals on Wheels is huge and it needs a lot of support. And I've heard stories of, they're feeding their cat that because their cat is their only, companion. So we're out there just trying to figure out what resources are there. How can we bridge the gap between what is already available and what is, what we need as a community. And I mean, I live in Joplin right now. From Nevada, I work in Nevada. My family's in Nevada. Like I'm very connected there. I love Vernon County, and I know that they're helping a lot of people there too, and they need help. So something like the medical loan closet. Have you ever heard of the medical loan closet?
Never, actually.
That's crazy, huh? Because they're on the TV news. They're in everything around here. Now, I learned about the medical loan closet. I've heard about them, but I didn't get it right. My mom got
Right.
sick. We needed some help as well, and didn't know about it. So after she had just passed, and so I decided to get out and actually start going to these places and looking them in the face and asking their story and what they do for the community and how we can help them. So yesterday I visited the medical loan closet, and I'm an emotional person. Emotions make me move, right? It's passion, and they actually take medical equipment, and they give it out on a loan. And they don't. I mean, of course, the need needs to be there. But I asked her. I said, "How do you get these wheelchairs back? How do you get these, all of these like bedside commodes and all these things back?" And she said, "They just bring them or they don't. Like she doesn't pressure." And so I asked her. I said, Who do you serve?" And she said, "Everyone." Like I cannot remember. I didn't write the notes down and share them, but it's like several communities all over the state. It doesn't matter where you're from. And so if you need a wheelchair, or if you know somebody, and this is what I'm going to ask you today, if you know somebody who has some, I mean, they have things from like feeding tube accessories, they provide some food for the feeding tubes that aren't covered on insurance. They provide so many things, like the roller things for your knees. Like I'm not a medical person, but when I was in there yesterday, they have a need for those things. And while I was there, there was a man and his, I would say probably daughter came in, and she said, Terry's the lady that was there, and she said, "How did you know about us?" And he said, "Actually, you guys helped me when my wife was sick." Sorry.
Wow.
And then he said, she passed. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad we could help you." He's like, "Well, we've already returned the things that you had loaned us, and we appreciate you so much, you guys." And he just told us how important they are to them. And then he brought a couple things that they had found, which is needed, like a bed alarm, to where if they're sitting up, it will, and they're not just for seniors, they're for everybody. But to know, like I'm talking to somebody right now, you who knows a lot about the community and the surrounding areas. And I asked you about the medical loan closet, and you're like, "I don't know." And that's me too. And I go to events that, for charity and talk about ministry. And I'm thinking, how can we get this? How can we bridge the gap on that? And so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on my own nonprofit, and we've had a lot of things go on, and the older you get, the more you are self-aware, the more you're starting to learn what you're good at and what truly moves you as a person. And so that's where I'm at in my life. And I've been doing this for, a few years now. And I'm just trying to figure out how I can fit our nonprofit or me as a servant into the community to where it's like, okay, so people need donations. Yeah, what donations? People want to give back. Well, who do we give back to? Do you know there are people just writing checks because they have a foundation, which is fantastic, but they're just writing checks to someone because they're like, well, this, I've heard of watered gardens. Let's send it to them, and they just give a check. Like they don't know where to give it, they don't know how to give. And I'm constantly seeing people, on Facebook asking, where can I donate some time? I'd like to take my son to donate some time to go and actually, give back and volunteer. And people are just out there, here's where I know, I think this is that, I just want to find a place where everything is together. So that's our goal in the community.
Amazing. Amazing. You're an amazing person. You're doing
So are
great
you.
stuff.
So are you.
That's amazing. I'm blown away. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right on when you say a lot of people want to help and they offer help and they're there to help. And then the question is, like you said, plugging them in and finding the place and where they would be, their skills would be it. Because a lot of people have awesome skills, and then there's two places that they would definitely work together, but neither one of them know that either one of them exists. So
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, you already know how much it costs to just be alive in the United States.
mhm.
I mean, honestly, like you can't, like times are hard. They will be hard. They will be good. It's the beauty of it all. But you ask yourself, how much time do I have to put into this? And like, where do I find the time, and how do we make that work? Because what I'm doing doesn't pay me per se. I mean, so I have to look at my business and say, how, first of all, I have to fund this, right? I have to pay my bills. I have to also give back to who I'm getting, like, the people and the things that I need to give back to. And then it's like, okay, so now how do I take time out of my schedule to say, I'm focusing in this area? And I actually had in the beginning of this, before I even got certified, I've been certified in this real estate planning for a year and a half, I think. As soon as my 2 year hit, that was when I could start taking the courses and I could be a part of the community. So I'd say 2 years now, pretty much. Um, I sat down with a lady in the community. I won't, this is whatever. That is very prominent. She's in the real estate industry. She's like, I was sitting with her as a mentor, and was meeting for coffee. And one day I said, this is what I'm doing. Here's my plan. I want to help seniors downsize and be ready. I want to help people, save their farm. I want their family's farm to stay in the family if that's what they want. I want to make sure people are, prepared for what's going to happen in life, because we are all going to get sick and die, or we're all just going to die. That is just really the truth of it. I want to help families be ready for these conversations. Like my mom and dad, they don't talk about these things. And so I'm guessing most families don't talk about these things, right? And so for somebody to come in that is trained to listen and be patient, and I've already been through a lot of problems in real estate. So it's like to sit there and mediate, it sometimes can just be helpful. And she said, this lady I met with said, "Oh no, this is not going to work. You are going to fail. Like, how are you going to make money? How are you going to survive?" And I understand where she's coming from because I've put a lot of energy into this type of thing that's not paying me. It's kind of like going to school and you're like,
Mhm.
well, now what do I got? I need to work too. I got to, here
Yeah.
I am over here learning and doing all these things, but then I need to work and pay my. And she said that to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know, because I was super new in real estate and like in the idea. And then I started realizing it's relationships, Doug.
Yeah.
It's relationships because, Doug, if I came to you and I said, hey, so I know that your aunt, I'm just random right here, just so you know. I do know you, but so your aunt is in this big house and she doesn't want to leave. And I know it's upsetting to you. Um, let's talk about how to keep her there. Let's talk about, make sure she's with the insurance company that has her insurance correct. Because a lot of people, they got insurance back in the day when their house is worth $100,000. Now it's tripled in price in the past 20 years. So now it's worth $300,000. And if you haven't looked at your insurance, you don't know much about insurance, and the insurance agent didn't sit and discuss it with you, you don't know what's covered. If I ask you, do you have full replacement, or do you have like the partial? So if your roof collapses and you have full replacement, or do you not? Most people don't know things and what it means. So these seniors, especially because they've owned their home for so long, a lot of them, they're already like maybe $100,000 is what they're insured for, 150. Well, their house is worth $300,000. So how is that protecting the asset that you have built? And so if I was to come to you and say, okay, we're just going to help your aunt age in place, she wants to stay there forever. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make it to where she's living in this part of the house. And we have somebody come over and maintain it. And this is just not somebody that I have, but somebody we know that can help maintain, right? We're just resourcing. I'm not like a specialist in everything. I just have people that we have relationships with that have a servant heart. So we help her age in place. Now, I'm not getting paid big money for that, and I'm spending a lot of time on that. But let's say after this happens and she decides, to stay there, and someone talks about real estate, are you going to tell them I have a relationship with somebody that actually can help you? And you're going to share my name, most likely, right?
Sure.
That's the relationship part. I'm going to invite you to our events. I'm going to call you and say, hey, Doug, how is it going? Good. Is there anybody in your life that I can help with real estate? Because it is a really big deal. It's not just something you should trust to somebody who doesn't quite know what they're doing, then they're more likely to have that relationship. So if I go in there thinking, what is this going to pay me? Then how am I serving the client? Firstly. So all of it
Yep.
wraps up to me. Whenever that lady told me that like, oh my God, how can you make money? This is never going to work. You're going to be like, you have nothing. Doug, last year was the worst year of my life to date, personally. Like, I cannot explain all the things that were going on at once in my life. And it was the best business year that I had, comparable to the others. And I look at that and I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm a very hard worker, and I'm very driven to like make things happen. So I don't let go easily. But I look at it and I'm thinking, how can something so beautiful come from something that's like broken? And if you look at solutions and you look at relationships and how I can actually care for somebody and their family, like if I go in there and you're like, you shouldn't sell your house, you shouldn't sell your house. Like if there's any way we could figure out how to keep you there, that is what we're going to do. And that's the difference between a real estate transaction and a real estate planner that's going to sit and discuss those things with you, the things that are hard.
You're amazing. That is
Amazing.
amazing. So how do we get connected? If there's somebody watching that wants to
Okay.
connect with you, let's give them some information on how to be in Marny's circle.
Okay, so Facebook is really good for me. I am on Facebook a lot. So if you just look at Marny, that's my first name, Marny Scott and Marny. I'm actually doing like a rebrand of our business, which is exciting. So we're doing some things different, changing the name. It's just a surprise. I'm going to be telling my clients about it next week at our party. But we're rebranding a little bit, and that's good. But you can go to Google if you want. Listen with Marny is my business name right now. If you just look at Marny Scotton, Marny, it should come up. So my cell phone number, it's on Facebook, 417-684-1655. But if I tell you that, I have to tell you my office number by law. It's 417-623-9900. So we come to you, meet you in the place that you need to be. And, there's a lot going on in the world. And if we can make your real estate world better, that's what we're going to do. So whether you're buying or you're just thinking, hey, I've got bad credit, I'm in the lease for 2 more years or a year, and you're thinking, how can I do better for my family? Because honestly, owning real estate brings wealth. I think some people have it backwards, where they think it maybe costs more than it's worth. But owning real estate, I would love people that don't understand it or don't own real estate. I would love to sit and talk to you about how the gap in wealth of somebody, just a normal person who owns real estate compared to a normal person who rents, what that looks like. And then we help people get ready for that too. So we pretty much do all stages of life with that. And we're happy to help. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, stuff like that.
You're amazing. I appreciate you, Marley, and everything you do for the community and more like not just the community, the 4-state area. You're amazing.
Yeah. The 4-state area is funny, but honestly, we're so close to all sides that when you have a real estate agent, we have to be licensed in each state that we work in. So a lot of your agents aren't looking in Kansas. Would you'd be okay in Galena or Fort Scott, or you're okay in Arkansas across the border, or Oklahoma. So I decided I wanted to engulf all that. So it's a lot, but it's really been worth it for people who need what they need or want what they want.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being on the show today, and definitely keep us updated on the developments of your nonprofit stuff you're doing, and call us anytime. Let's talk again soon.
Look for that, please, because I have no idea what it's going to be exactly, but it's going to be fantastic.
I believe it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
I love what you do, Doug. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate you for having me.
Time to be ready for something, an urgency that is new. Now I've seen the world, now that play is through. Another door is open, another life has passed. Another victory is calling, another song that will last. Broken hearts that are mending, broken promises fulfilled, broken dreams can be pieced back together. Now that void is filled. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. Lesson learned in silence, wisdom carved in pain. The echoes of the struggle now sing a sweet refrain. The shadows that once lingered have faded in the light. And every step I take now, boldly true and right. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. The fire that once flickered now burns with steady flame. No longer chasing fortune, no longer seeking fame. I stand upon the moment, the future in my hand, a voice among the many, a soul that dares to stand. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. Yeah, one heart, one mind, one soul, one life to live. One heart, one mind, one soul.